Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, good luck to me. It is my 290th episode of the Decktacular this Wednesday, November 30th. I am, in fact, wearing the correct shirt for once. I couldn't resist. It's Wolf Shirt Wednesday, motherfuckers! And I am in an odd, weird, one-of-a-kind mood today because my internet is taking a big fat dump on my career. Oh, we haven't dropped any frames yet. Oh, thank goodness. Here's what's been happening today. I have tried to play Hitman twice now. And today I was playing. It looks good. It's running well. And my internet, it doesn't turn off. It's just not working right. I call Comcast. There's an outage in the area. It will be fixed within a few hours, sir. Don't worry. There's 40% critical degradation in the area. Actually, the person I talked to on the phone was lovely and amazing. I shouldn't give her that. Hello, I am a female customer service representative, and there's critical degradation. She wasn't like that. She was a sweetheart. We had a blast on the phone. Except for the fact that my internet wasn't working, but I assume it's rather complicated to get everyone in the whole world internet, so it needs to degrade every now and again. But I just don't want it to happen while I'm playing Hitman. Fuck! So, since all my frames were dropping, we literally couldn't get video working. We did a 2.5 hour music-only stream. Ooh! Ooh! And then my shit crashed. So, we're going to try to review the mean streets of Gadgetzan cards. I tell you that because, first of all, I think I'm a reasonably good storyteller, and even though that there were no notable highs and lows or, climaxes in what I just said, I still think it was compelling content. Second of all, I want you to understand the fact that my frames might drop. And third of all, I want you to understand that it was good motivation when my stream went offline to get this delicious Goose Island Bourbon County Stout. This thing is so insane. It came out on Black Friday. Sold out everywhere around me. I got the second to last bottle at the store when they got their shipment in again. So let's have a drink. I have mine in a, looks like a wine bulb. I'm drinking Black Acre. Holy double shit. Oh my god, Morpheus, I've taken the red pill, and even though my reality might be harsh, it's so sweet to feel. I'm feeling for the first time ever. Oh my god, no soma for me. I like this. I'm going to review these cards in a little bit. Review some of these. Here we go. Oh, wait. Before we review this, so there's a whole bunch of cards. They're organized by class, and we're going to go through and we're going to talk about all of them. And I want to stress that we're not going to do a 1 to 5 rating system, okay? We're not going to do a 1 to 5 rating system, okay? Or even a 1 to 4, or even any rating system. Here's what I was trying to do. When I was looking at the Mean Streets of Gadgetzan cards, I was trying to decide how I wanted to evaluate them, to create some sort of consistent metric, and I couldn't come up with one that made any sense. Here's what I mean. Dr. Boom is a card that is so good it was in every deck. If you were a control deck, you ran Dr. Boom because he gave a shitload of stats for 7, and it's kind of an anti-sweeper. If they try to kill off everything on your side, the Boom bots strike back, and, a 7/7 body is nothing to be laughed at, even with a 3-mana big game hunter. If you were an aggro deck, right when you were starting to lose momentum, you would drop that fucker down and you would win a lot of games. Essentially only in combo decks were we not seeing Dr. Booms. But then you have a card like Frostbolt. It's just a solid card. It's just in mage decks. No one loses their mind about it. Fiery War Axe makes a lot of people be, oh my god, why? He always has it. But no one's like deeply, vehemently, viscerally upset about a Frostbolt in the way they are about a Grim Patron with Charge or about a Dr. Boom. There's a lot of cards that are used infrequently that are amazing. Gadgetzan Auctioneer is a perfect example. Gadgetzan Auctioneer is what makes Miracle Rogue work. Would we say that Gadgetzan Auctioneer is not good frames? Fuck! Fuck! Is my audio at least working? Well, the audio's fine, so no big deal. Again, we might drop frames. Gadgetzan Auctioneer is a card that is absolutely amazing, but just for the Miracle Rogue archetype. Grim Patron is an amazing card, but just for the old Grim Patron decks that used Warsong Commander and then the later evolved Grim Patron decks. Those are the sort of things where, do I rate Grim Patron above or below a Dr. Boom or a Frostbolt or the Gadgetzan Auctioneer? So rather than me trying to do something like, say, these are 5s and these are 4s, I'm going to talk a little qualitatively about cards. So I have a few categories of cards that we're going to be going through as we do this review. One of them is just great cards that I think are awesome. And these are the Dr. Booms that are amazing all over the place, Frostbolts that are used in a lot of decks, or Fiery War Axes, things like that, as well as something like an Azure Drake, which I think is not needed in every deck, but it's just a great, solid, really good card. I'm also going to talk about Azure Drake might even bleed into this category. Just all around, pretty good, pretty great cards. Flame Strike, I think, is a good example of this. I don't think anyone has been talking about the deep imbalance of a Flame Strike, but I mean, it's just a solid card, right? So we have our mega super great staple cards, just our solid cards that are just good. Maybe you don't use them all the time, but they're situationally very clear uses. There's another category that I'll call, like, it's almost like a cutesy card. Sinister Strike, Frost Nova. These are cards that I think fit very finely into specific decks. Shiv is another one. These are cards that don't have super supreme, crazy, out of control power, but they do a good job in a very specific little sliver. Like if you can go Malagos, Eviscerate, Sinister Strike. So good. Frost Nova, it's an interesting and good delay card. Yeah. There's also, I guess, a shit tier class. A class of cards that I'm like, I just don't think this is good at all. There's also the like the high potential, like, oh, this could do this. I don't. Even, let me give an example of this sort of card. Power of the Wild. Now we sort of know it works well with token cards. Is it like a kind of? So I just want you to know roughly where my head's at. There's going to be a few things that I'm also going to point to. I'm largely going to do a highly qualitative discussion of these. Because even something like Frost Nova, is Frost Nova a better or worse card than Azure Drake? I think that's a stupid question. Because Frost Nova is such a critical card in certain situations, and Azure Drake is good in another thing. So is Frost Nova better or worse than Azure Drake? I think that's a stupid question. Right? So I don't want to say Azure Drake is 3 and Frost Nova is 2, because that's dumb, right? So let's go through it. Mark of the Lotus. By the way, these are all organized by class. This is the Imager album of all the released cards that was at the top sticky post of Reddit. Great. Now, if you scrubbed forward to this moment, YouTubers, you better go back and listen to the start, because I explained how I'm going to discuss this. So Mark of the Lotus, give your minions +1/+1. What I'm going to do with this card is what I'm going to be doing with a lot of these cards, is not to just ask, is it good or bad? I want to think of the situation where it's actually used in. And Mark of the Lotus, the only place where it would have a lot of value is like a Violet Teacher or tokeny sort of thing. I think this is going to be something kind of like a Sinister Strike, where it might feel okay in a tokeny deck. This might be a good one of. This, I have a sensation that there's going to be a Miracle type druid that runs 2 Gadgetzans that might actually run this and Violet Teachers and a bunch of cheap spells. And I think that it might be very interesting in that particular archetype, but we'll get to that later. But overall, I think this is going to be something kind of like a Sinister Strike. It could do some stuff, but I don't imagine it will be one of these life-changing sort of things. Jade Blossom. Holy fuck, guys! If you have a drink, cheers. I'm having once again a sip of the Goose Island Bourbon County Stout. Please look for it; it's excellent. This card, I think, is fucking sensational for Ramp Druid. This is sensational for Ramp Druid. I am so excited about this card. Now, my bias here obviously comes from the fact that Ramp Druid might be my number 2 archetype. It might even be just tied with Shadow Priest. I like getting huge. Cool shirt Wednesday, ladies. Every time I've played Ramp Druid, or even an Astral Druid, not having a ramp on turn 3 hurts. It hurts so much. Even the 4 mana ramp, Mire Keeper. 4 mana is a little awkward. It's a little difficult to deal with. So even in a deck that is not about Jade Golems, it's not about Jade Golems, I think that this is a really nice slot that's being filled in. Now, there's a question right away that, who asked it? I got skipped over. But anyways, Jade Golem, here's how a Jade Golem works. A Jade Golem is a 1/1 creature. The first time it says summon a Jade Golem. The second time it says 2/2. The third Jade Golem, it's a 3/3. And so on. If you have a 12th Jade Golem, it's a 12/12. I think a lot of people are losing their minds about the Jade Golem mechanic in general. But I'm not that, because I don't even really care about that when evaluating this. It's really nice to be able to ramp and summon a 1/1, and that's really nice. I'm also going to, I'm working under the assumption that this also functions like Wild Growth, where you get an excess mana, letting you draw another card if you have 10 mana. But honestly, filling in the 3 mana slot is so nice, even outside of the Jade Golem mechanic. And if I just ran 2 of these in a Ramp Druid, I think I'd be happy. I think. So I would put this as pretty nice card just for Ramp Druid. Oh, you don't get the excess mana effect on turn 10. Oh, well, shit. I have a lot of optimism for this card. Wow, I can't believe you don't draw it. I was so excited about that. I assumed that it was just a Wild Growth equivalent. That's weird. I still have a lot of optimism about this card. Jade Behemoth, I think I almost want to revisit this card. I've sort of scanned through all the cards. I stopped looking at the card releases and stopped looking at the card reviews because I wanted to be able to give my pure opinion. I have seen no card ratings, no card discussions, period. I've only seen people talk about Jade Golem. That's it. This is obviously a deeply understated card that only has value if you have a lot of Jade Golems. So let's revisit this. I don't exactly know what I think. Jade Idol. This was talked about in my chat a little bit. Choose one, summon a Jade Golem, or shuffle 3 copies of this card into your deck. Now, obviously, I get a hard-on for Mills. Can we just admit this? I like Mill. I like it. I don't think that a Mill Druid works at all right now. And this obviously is an anti-Mill, so I don't know, I might have some fun there. But I want to think about where this might make more sense. I think that this particular card might be very, very suitable in a in this Miracle Druid that I've been talking about. Already, the Malayog Druid is not a Malayog, a Malagos Druid that runs double Arcane Giants, has a Gadgetzan Auctioneer to be able to draw cards. I think that this is a really nice outside of Malagos win condition that could be really, really cool. Instead of running Malagos and needing the double Moonfire and needing the double Moonfire plus Living Roots to win the game, we could use Gadgetzan Auctioneers to cycle using this card as well, and then be able to just summon a lot of Jade Golems, a sort of tokeny deck. I think that the Jade Golems, to me, don't seem like they're going to be nuts until you get really deep and you're casting your 6th Jade Idol or something like that. So I think that this might be a reasonable card being supported by some draw. I mean, obviously the dream is at the end of the game, you have a Gadgetzan Auctioneer alive, and you can Jade Idol, draw a card. Jade Idol, cast a dude. Jade Idol, cast a dude. Draw the third Jade Idol, summon three Jade Idols to your deck. Cast another Golem, cast another Golem. Like, I think that that is where this will work. I think it'll only really work as a finisher. I don't think that this is going to be one of these, like, oh my god, oh, a turn 4 Jade Idol. I think it sucks in the early game. I think it will only be good if you go deep. So that's where I think that this card will shine. Celestial Dreamer, a 3-mana battlecry. If a friendly minion has 5 or more attack, gain +2/+2. I don't think this is great. I don't think this is great. Right away, as a huge fan of Ramp Druid, what I see right here is if a minion has 5 or more attack, and suddenly I'm like, well, in Ramp you have lots of 5 or more attack. You know, I want to go right there. And this sometimes happens when you are a Ramp Druid, where you have a Bog Creeper and a Mire Keeper, and that kind of hurts. I've also run Ramp Druids where you're trying to fill in the 2, 3, 4 mana slot with things that are good as anti-aggro, and a 3/3 for 3 is certainly an acceptable anti-aggro. And with this, it could be a 3/3 for 5, but I don't actually see that being great. I don't think, like, this seems to have the most value as I played 2 cards with 10 mana and got 2 reasonable threats. So I don't actually think that this is a great card. I'd actually say this is a relatively weak card. Now let me stop, and do I disagree with this? Would it work in a token deck with this Lotus, Mark of the Lotus? No, I think this card is weak. I think it's really bad. I think it's really bad. 5/5 for 3. Even so. Vermin Sensei, Battlecry, give a friendly beast +2/+2. So it's a 4/5 for 5. Beast Druid is already... God, I don't really know. Like, here's my intuition. Witty Adrian says, I think you underestimate the buff your hand cards. Are those in Druid? I don't think those are in Druid. We'll come back to that, Witty Adrian. I could be wrong, but I don't think those are in Druid. Vermin Sensei, my intuition right away says this is terrible. The art is amazing. Look at this bunny with carrots flying over. I think this is terrible. I think this is awful. For any of you who remember the Menagerie Warden, the Menagerie Warden was a 6/6. Fuck, no it's not. It is a 6 mana 5/5 that says summon a copy of a beast. And a lot of people were like, oh my god, you're going to play the Stealth Tiger, a 5/5 for 5, then turn 6, you're going to summon it. And now you have a 5/5 and a 5/5 and a 5/5 on turn 6. Vomiting blood and drama. And that just didn't pan out being particularly scary. So, I think this sucks. I think it's terrible. I think. The way in which I could be wrong is if there were certain beast druids that had a little more board presence. Would you want to run a Vermin Sensei at 5 mana or a Stealth Tiger, a 5/5 for 5 with stealth that guarantees face damage? I think it sucks. Pilfered Power, I think this is a terrible card. This was, I think, the first card that I saw where it said gain an empty mana crystal, and literally right there in the space, I mean, it doesn't even matter how tiny the kerning is, man. I was immediately like pupils dilated, back arched, give me mana, I love Ramp Druid. Ramp Druid's a fucking jerk. Right? I was like losing my mind. But gain an empty mana crystal for each friendly minion. I stop and I go, when do I want lots of additional mana? Well, I generally want it as a way to beat my opponent to extra mana. Like, you know, having 4 mana on turn 3 is really great. Having 9 mana on turn 8 is a little negligible. That's why ramp cards feel nice earlier on. So, okay, maybe I want to try to cast this earlier on. Why would I want to cast them earlier on? Because I have big creatures in my deck I want to play sooner. I have big creatures in my deck I want to play sooner. Let's say that again. Big creatures in my deck that I want to play sooner. When does Pilfered Power trigger? When I have small minions in my deck I can play earlier. What? You see how those two things conflict? That's the first thing I thought about. Like this, I think the only way where this works is an early Living Roots, and then you coin out Pilfered Power. That seems bad. That seems bad. Or waiting until turn 4 and then going Living Roots, Pilfered Power. I think it's bad. I think it's unbelievably bad. I literally cannot even envision a deck where this works. Maybe Token Druid, but I don't think that a Token Druid is hunting for early mana in this particular way. I really don't. The only deck where I think it might be like, is if there's some sort of miracle Token Druid that's awesome. Even with excess mana, I don't see a success case for this. Lunar Visions. Draw 2 cards. Minions drawn cost 2 less. We need to introduce another category of cards where I have no fucking clue, man. I have no clue. Let me explain to you why I have no clue with another sip of the delicious, rotated the wrong way because left is right and right is left when you're looking at a preview monitor, the Goose Island Bourbon County Stout. Here was something that was very tough for me to learn. There are many a deck where you are not looking for card draw. You're looking to build a nice curve and toast somebody with it. I think a really good example that you can try right now is the Secret Hunter. The Secret Hunter, it's looking to just completely slaughter you right away. Just kill you by having a really nice curve. So a common thing that happens in card games is that anytime a new player runs out of cards, his first thought is, it is bad to have no cards, therefore this deck should have had card draw. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. I think the one person that I learned from this the most was Reynad. Reynad does lots and lots of mid-range and especially lots and lots of aggro decks where he's just trying to roast his opponent. He has like 1 or 0 cards in his hand. And I'm like, wow, huh? Like I was watching him and I was like, Reynad, you have no card draw. And he was just winning these games. And I was like, oh, Kibler, another person I watched a lot of, does a lot of really interesting, cool mid-range decks. Why am I talking about this? Because Lunar Visions, you draw 2 cards, minions drawn cost 2 less. Right away, it begs the statement, or it begs the construction, we have lots of minions in our deck. 5 mana, draw 2, that's expensive Arcane Intellect, unless the minions drawn cost 2 less. Okay, cool. I want to put in a lot of minions. Okay. What are Druid decks that run a lot of minions? I guess beat decks. I love Ramp. I love Ramp! I guess the benefit for Ramp would be is this might be okay to run a one of in Ramp, not Astral, but just Ramp. With Astral, you want a lot of 10, 9, 8, 7 mana cards. With Ramp, it's more like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, like in that range. So reducing these by 2 could give potential to cast 2 within a turn. But if I'm ramping, often I can already cast a giant fucking man this turn, right? If I'm turn 8 and I have a swipe and a wrath, I've fucked up, right? On turn 8, it should be like Bog Keeper, Wrath, and I'm like, and I slam a large dude down. So the ability to draw is actually not as important in a ramp druid, because it's better to just rip an 8 mana card off the top and blast that out than it is to get card draw off the top, draw, and then next turn do something. Beast Druid? Maybe? My intuition, and this is, again, most of my analysis of the cards I really don't know, but I think this card is very bad. I think it's an unbelievably very, 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 very bad card. I think it's incredibly bad. As a very simple statement, would you want this or Nourish? I would want Nourish almost universally. What would make me choose Lunar Visions over Nourish? Having more minions in my deck. What are all the good heavy minion decks? Ramp and Beast that I know of? But Beast Druid is the sort of deck that doesn't have as much card draw in favor of just fucking killing the guy, right? You know what I mean? I'm going to pronounce it the way I want to pronounce it. Khun, the Forgotten King. Khun. I think that's way better than Khun. Khun, the Forgotten Kung. Khun, the Forgotten King. Choose one, gain 10 armor, or refresh your mana crystals. I quite like this card. I don't think it doesn't make me go like, ah, woo! Like, literally, like, it doesn't give me a Dr. Boomer. You know what I mean? A 9-inch Dr. Boomer. I don't know, I'm being so crass today. The reason I like this is that it's hard to get good healing in a ramp druid. It's actually very difficult to get healing in a ramp druid. I think the gain 10 armor is the sensational thing. In ramp druid, like if you're ramping really hard, as I like to do with my astral ramp druid, that I took to rank 3, by the way. With a ramp druid deck, you are looking to get a large, scary body on the board, plus some sort of flip. And by flip, I mean a way to remove some of his dudes. I mean, very simple one. Ancient of War. A 5/10. It's a large body. It has taunt. You have to attack me. Cool. North Sea Kraken. I play a North Sea Kraken. It's a 9/7. It deals 4 damage. Cool. Ice Howl. It's a 10/10. It also has charge, so I can kill a thing. Cool. So if I am a ramp deck, I'm not going to have a lot of card draw. I'm going to have a lot of large bodies. And so as a result, I want a lot of effects where I can play the guy and have a large thing and prevent a thing right away. The gaining of health, therefore, is really hard to do properly in a ramp druid. I've always wanted more health in ramp druid, but it's so hard to do it. It's so hard to do that. God, if I put in healing touches when I have only 1 or 0 cards in my hand and then I draw the healing touch, I feel like a dumbass, right? With this one, I like the fact that against aggro, I can just bang this one out and just pop the armor up. It doesn't matter what my health is. It's not like Alexstrasza where I'm trying to get value. That's great. Or refresh your mana crystals. Almost always, I think this is going to be just playing one more big dude from your hand. So this is great, right? If I have 1 or 2 cards in my hand, I draw Khun. I can bam, and then play North Sea Kraken and kill a thing, and we're good. It's kind of... this reminds me a lot of... Waisha RJ, because with Waisha RJ, it's a 10/10. It doesn't really affect the state of the board on the opponent's side a lot, but we get a man. We get another man, so it's quite a lot of stats, and maybe this one has taunt as well. I think this is going to be roughly the same sort of feeling. I don't think this is going to be monster nut shit, but like refresh your mana crystals. I think the obvious intuition is if you play Aviana, then you can play Coon, and then you have 10 mana crystals, and then all of a sudden we're vomiting everywhere. Oh my god, I can get Malagos and Faceless Manipulator it into Malagos and Faceless Manipulator it into Malagos. Plus 15 spell, then vomiting rainbows of excitement and gold pouring out of your mouth and all that stuff. I don't think that'll actually be good. I think in terms of actually... I mean, I'm going to do that on air, to be clear. I am going to... I'm going to be probably running an Aviana, Coon, Double Faceless Manipulator crazy thing. But I don't think it's actually going to be necessarily good. So I think this is a pretty solid card. Alley Cat, Battlecry. Okay, so we stopped there. Now, what we're going to see is that my analysis in various sections is much better and weaker based upon the classes that I play. Hunter, I don't play a lot. Hunter, Warlock, Warrior, don't play as much. Don't play as much. You're going to vomit on air? It says Sujuku Core 1. Maybe. I don't know. Here's the thing. I want my card review to be more interesting than other people's. That's what I want. That's what I want. So if I want to go on a tangent, I'm going to go on a tangent. All right? You know what I mean? I'm going to go on a tangent. Alley Cat. Oh, Sheriff. Summon a 1/1 cat. It's a beast. Possessed Villager. I forgot a card. What's the card I forgot? Did I miss one? I don't think I missed one. Whatever. Sheriff. Battlecry. Summon a Despy. Oh, I'm sorry. It's Battlecry. Summon 1/1 cat. For some reason... For some reason, I thought it was Death Rattle. Dr. Darkheart's telling me I skipped a card. I'm going to come back to the Jade Golem, the 3/6. Is this an incomplete list? I'm using an Imager album that I thought was a complete list. The Jade Behemoth we're coming back to. You skipped the 3/7? This one? I mean, we're going to come back to this. We're going to come back to this. Yeah, no. I said we're going to come back to it. We have to look at the other Jade Golem cards before we can do that. And those are neutrals. Okay, cool. Whew, didn't miss one. For God's sake. Alley Cat, Battlecry, summon a 1/1 cat. Now, this is just a generally significant gap in my knowledge. I am not the best analyst of pretty much any aggro deck. Analyst is way too pompous ass a turn. I don't really fucking get aggro proper. I really don't. I really don't. I really don't. So when I look at Alley Cat, the Possessed Villager, the 1/1 for Warlock, it's... Oh, Dr. Darkheart, don't you worry at all. Thanks for letting me know. Probably meant I wasn't clear. Anyways. I don't think this is great. My analysis is also based upon what's going to happen at release, and nothing is getting rotated out at release. The Fiery Bat is a 2/1 that deals 1 damage. I probably want to do that. There's a number of cards that are like, deal damage and summon a nerd equal to my attack, and all the other cards that are like, oh, get huge. I don't fucking... It doesn't change this, but I don't know. I don't know. I think this is going to be... I think this is fine. I don't know, it doesn't seem amazing. I mean, Here's what my intuition tells me. Intuition is telling me that this is a solid card and I'm not good at aggro. Okay? It tells me that this is a solid card and I'm not good at aggro, but I don't understand why. I'm literally basing this on the fact that Fiery Bat is very scary for me, and Argent Squire is a 1/1 with Divine Shield that's scary to me, and this summons several small nerds. And I had a third reason. Possessed Villager is a good card. Maybe it activates a Hyena. It's like Living Roots. I bet you this is good, and I have no clue why. When I look at this, I don't get excited. That's why initially I was like, I guess it's... But this is maybe good. Give a random beast in your hand +2/+2. I think the Hunter class is going to be significantly represented by comments where I go, I don't know, who knows. Let's go through all of these very quickly, so that way I can come back and explain a little bit why. Smuggler's Crate, give a random beast in your hand +2/+2. I summon beasts alone. Shaky Zip Gunner, a 3/3 for 3. Already fine stats. Give a random minion in your hand +2/+2. Yeah! Hidden Cache, after your opponent plays a minion, give a random minion in your hand +2/+2. Trog Beast Rager, Battle Cry, give a random beast in your hand +1/+1. I'm a 2-mana 3/2. Dispatch Kodo, deal damage equal to this minion's attack. Is it a 4-mana 2/4 that deals 2? No! It's a beast. It's gonna get so fucking huge. It's gonna get fucking sick. Right? It's a big dude. Rat Pack. Death Rattle. Summon an equal number of 1/1. Unleash the Hounds. Excuse me. Rats equal to this minion's attack. It's a 3-mana 2/2. Or is it? It's a 3-mana 3/3 or a 3-mana 4/4 or a 3-mana 5/5. No one can be certain. It's a rat. It's holding a ruby. Ruby. Ah, this card's green. It's green. It's green card. It's green card, my man. Piranha Launcher. This is definitely shitty. This is a shitty card. This really is a terrible card. There it is. Oh. Knuckles. Okay, let me come back. Here's what I think I can say acceptably, confidently. I think that there is going to be an archetype in Hunter. Like, let's stop. Okay, let me take a step back. All right, let me take a... We're going to take a step back. What are scary Hunter decks? Secret Hunter. Which is... Summon a bunch of secrets, get a secret keeper to get all swole up, and then kill him at turn 6. And how do we ensure we kill him at turn 6? We get a Savannah Highmane. He concedes out of respect. What are other things that have been historically popular Hunter archetypes in the past? Aggro face, kill you ASAP Hunter. Mid-range, I'm calling myself mid-range, but I really kill you fast anyways, Hunter. It's aggro. It's an aggro Hunter. It's really early, like, just kill him fast Hunters. Right? These have been the archetypes. Now, I have played against some Death Rattle Hunters that summon, like, the Infested Wolf, that bring out the, I don't remember what it's called, but it goes, the better to eat you with. You know that one? The 1/1 summons the 3/2. Kindly Grandmother, that's what it is. We have that. There's a lot of the Death Rattly dudes. Cool. And that's been very scary to me. So when I look at things that are making things in my hand big, Shaky Zip Gunner and Hidden Cache, Trog Beast Rager, I feel like there will be a deck that is very aggressive and utilizes the buffing of in-hand minions to still try to kill you most of the time. So that's the archetype that sticks out in my head, and outside of that, I don't think Control Hunter is necessarily going to be a big thing. With that in mind, I can now do the full Hunter card analysis by saying, this card doesn't excite me. If I were dating an alley cat, I would break up with it and tell it it was me, when it's really the alley cat. Like, that's what I would do. But I think this is probably a great card. Smuggler's Crate, literally have no idea. It seems slow. I wouldn't run it. I think this is not going to be in that deck. Shaky Zip Gunner, I think this or the Trog Beast Rager, the 2-mana 3/2, one of these is going to be sick. I think that one of these are going to live in there somewhere. I don't know which one. I think I would probably say the Trog Beast Rager is the better of the two. I think the Trog Beast Rager is the better of the two. We also dropped more frames. I hope it's better. Let's see. Hidden Cache. I don't think this is going to be used. I think this is going to be great. It seems weird. We're going to react by getting huger. I don't know. This seems weird. The reason this one particularly seems weird is that this doesn't do anything active to affect the board state, which most of the other secrets do, like Snipe, Freezing Trap, Explosive Trap, things like that. So I don't think this is necessarily going to be good. There's the 3/4 make all your secrets cost 0 guy, the Cloaked Huntress. Cloaked Huntress is good when you have a shitload of secrets. If you have a shitload of secrets, you don't have a shitload of minions. And if you don't have a shitload of minions, it's hard for me to see this one going off. See what I mean? I think this card sucks. I think it really sucks. I think it's really, really bad. Dispatch Kodo, I think this is the best Hunter card. I think this is insane. This is amazing. This is absolutely sensational. We already love Blackwing Corruptor, a 5-mana 5/4 that deals 3 damage. We love the Fire Elemental, a 6/5 for 6 mana that deals 3 damage. We love those cards. Those cards are conducive to boners. This card, the Dispatch Kodo, given that I do believe there will be an archetype in which lots of buffing of nerds in the hands is going to exist, this is just an amazing card. All the buff dudes in cards are buff beasts, buff dude. This is a beast and a dude. I think a beast and a minion is the official term. The Dispatch Kodo. Captain Morgan says, not the Siege Rhino. Yes, this is the Dispatch Kodo, which, as you note, costs 1 white, 1 black, 1 green, and 1 colorless. It has infinite health and restores your life to whatever the fuck you want. Welcome to Magic the Gathering. If you don't know, a Siege Rhino is a really, 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 really good card. Anyways, I think the Dispatch Kodo is great. I think it's absolutely amazing. Turn 4. What is the deck that this would look like in? It summons a small nerd on turn 1. A smallish nerd on turn 2, a medium nerd on turn 3. Ooh, we're at the risk of losing control of the board. No, Dispatch Kodo comes out in turn 4. Snaps necks, breaks faces, and puts the cigarette out in the eye of the little taunt creature that's out on the other side. It's not a big deal. Dispatch Kodo, I think, is going to be great. I'm weighing this against the Houndmaster, the 4/3 give an opponent, or give a creature +2/+2. I feel like very often this will be 3 attack. So it's a 4 mana, deal 3 damage, and have a 3/5, which I think is great. Which I think is great, 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 great. Rat Pack is in the same category as the Trog Beast Rager, is in the same category as the Shaky Zip Gunner. I think there is some sort of archetype for Hunter. And I don't know exactly how it looks. Maybe this sits in there. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know. The Rat Pack, this seems stupid in a control archetype. I will buff the Rat Pack all game long, and then I will play it for 3. Thereby, when you kill it, I have lots of 1/1s. Boy, I certainly don't have any sort of follow. Yeah, I just... I don't like this card. I don't think this is a good card. I don't think it's good. Like, I think the argument for it might be, well, hey, the Infested Wolf is a 3/3 for 4 that summons some 1/1s. Works with Abusive Sergeant, I guess. But would I really want to run Abusive Sergeant over the other things? Maybe. I don't like this card. I really don't like this card. I don't like this card. I would go so far as to say I think this is not a good card. I do not think this will make a big splash. I don't know why I said splash. I just lost the R. The L, excuse me. What? A big splash. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think this is good. Well, Haunted Creeper is a 1/2 of the Death Rattle summon some 1/1s. And this is 1 more cost, 1 more attack. Let me qualify this by saying I'm really bad at Hunter. I don't like this card. I don't think this is going to be a huge ass card. Do I think that? I'm going to skip down to the neutrals real fast. So we're going to go through them. The question is, you know, here's what I'm going to do. We're going to come back to Rat Pack. I want to see what some of the other cards are. I want to see what some of the other cards are. I want to see what some of the other cards are before I come back to this. Because a real question is, what is the probability that this is a 3-mana 2/2? What's the probability this is a 3-mana 2/2? Infested Wolf, you can top deck. And it's okay. This Rat Pack, you can't really top deck. You have to have some setup. Ghost Sharks, is it time for a break before switching to the next class? No, we're going straight through all this. Woo! At Piranha Launcher, I can state very simply why I think this card's weak. Would this work in Control Hunter? I mean, dealing 2 damage a turn, and summoning at 1/1, it's really slow, and I just have never seen a good Control Hunter. Knuckles. After this attacks a minion, it also hits the enemy hero. I think this is okay. I think this is okay. I mean, obviously, if this gets buffed at all, I'm imagining the curve up to 5-mana Knuckles. If it's a 3/7, 3/7 for 5 is not horrific. And it also deals 2 sets of damage. I think this is pretty good. I think this is pretty good, especially if it gets a teensy bit buffed. Teensy bit buffed. Oh, by the way, someone's saying that Piranha Launcher might be good in Arena. I don't play Arena at all. Everything I'm saying is for Standard Constructed. That's it. Standard Constructed. Freezing Potion. Okay, so we're on to Mage. I'm going to revisit the Hunter cards and redo my thoughts on this. But I think you've roughly heard. I just don't think this is great. What deck runs freeze effects for the sake of freezing? Oh, Freeze Mage. Control-y things. I want to get another turn. 0 mana says to me, you want to do this and something else on the same turn. Right? You want to backstab for 0 and then run out an SI7 agent. So when I see a 0 mana card, outside of like Forbidden Flame, which is secretly a whatever minion card, but when I see a 0 mana card in Mage, I'm like, oh my god, what can we use this for? Because we obviously are trying to figure out how to do 2 things for 0 mana. I can't think of one. I can't think of one, period. So I think this is probably one of the worst cards in the set, I think I'd say. Cabal Lackey, a 1-mana 2/1. The next secret you play this turn costs 0. I feel like we might wind up having some sort of very aggressive secret hunter. We might wind up seeing a very aggressive secret mage deck come out, and a 2/1 for 1 is pretty good. I expect that Cabal Lackey itself will not be bone-shatteringly crazy, but I do think that it will probably fit into some aggro secret archetype. Now, why do I say that? Because the Cloaked Huntress, Secret Hunter, is very, very quite so scary. Cabal Lackey, the next secret you play this turn costs 0. Don't forget the Kirin Tor Mage, the 3-mana 4/3 that says the next secret you cost this turn costs 0, plus the Cabal Crystal Runner costs 2 less for each secret you've played this game. Those 3 cards together imply to me that there will be a lot of dudes out on the board, a lot of secrets out on the board, plus a lot of value that is deferred out on the board. I don't think... that said, I don't necessarily believe that Secret Mage will become the it mage class. Because I think to make that valuable, first of all, I mean, I don't think that this secret, Potion of Polymorph secret, after your opponent plays a minion, transform it into a 1/1 sheep, this doesn't freak me out. I'm not going to go like, oh my god, oh no. Like, honestly, if someone runs a Potion of Polymorph, I'm going to be like, yeah. It's like very straightforward to play around, I feel. I just think this is an incredibly weak card. I think it is an incredibly, incredibly weak card. What do I want to turn into a 1/1 sheep? Something I'd want to polymorph. And polymorph targets are oftentimes the dopest decisions that you have in the game. Wow, I have to really think about his deck and what's going to be coming down the line and this and that and the other. So, Potion of Polymorph, you don't get to target it. Well, that seems fucking bad. That's my reasoning behind this one. So, given that, coming back to the Cabal Lackey that we're still analyzing, I think that this Secrets Mage deck could be a thing. I don't think Potion of Polymorph will affect it. Secrets Mage, what does that imply? You're dumping your cards really quickly. What does that imply? That you are trying to get a spike in value enough to kill your opponent. I think that a Secret Mage deck that makes sense will be very aggressive. I think it will be Mirror Entity, Counterspell based. Oh, I miss you, Duplicate, you beautiful, beautiful card. Yeah, so I think with that, I think it's... Even then, I think that a secrety mage is... As a kill you fast and aggro secret mage, it's hard for me to see it like knocking it out of the park. Hard for me to see it knocking it out of the park. So overall, I have to ask the question, for Cabal Lackey to be evaluated as a good or bad card, is a secret heavy deck going to be good? And the more I talk about it, the more I think, no. No, it will not be good. Because it is sucking cards out of the hand that are needed to keep the existing card pool that I have out alive. Right? Let me stop for a moment. Let me think about what I've just said. Let me think about what I've done. What I'm doing in my head is I'm trying to go, okay, so Secret Hunter. If we look at Secret Hunter lists, they run like 8 secrets. They have an Eaglehorn Bow that synergizes with secrets, and that's probably the biggest thing that mages don't have. Yeah, I don't think it'll be very good. Okay, I think I'm satisfied. There are a few cards in Hunter that are insane, such as Eaglehorn Bow and Savannah Highmane, that almost round out all the other problems that a Secret Hunter might have. Ooh, I don't have any cards in my hand because I blasted all these secrets out. You have an Eaglehorn Bow and a Hero Power that hits you in the face. The Mage secrets don't seem to synergize with a lot of the other cards that are in the deck in as good a way as an Eaglehorn Bow does. I don't see any standalone cards in Mage that are as strong as a Savannah Highmane. I also feel like the Mage cards are like defensive. Ice Barrier, Ice Block, Vaporize. I'm going to kill you if you attack me. Effigy, if you attack me, I'll come back again. Counterspell, stop it! And then you have the very active Hunter cards of Snipe and Freezing Trap and Explosive Trap. Cat 4/2, I'm invisible. Cat Trick, that's what it's called. I think a Secret Mage is not going to be good. I think it's not going to be good. So I think that therefore the Cabal Lackey sucks. The Cryomancer. What are the decks that historically have run Freeze? Freeze Mage. Does it want something that isn't burn in there? No. I think this Cryomancer, I think, has more potential than Cabal Lackey, just because Frostbolt and Water Elemental exist. But I still think this card's not very good. Potion of Polymorph, we've already talked about, I think is terrible. Volcanic Potion. Oh, yes! Yes! This is... Oh, God. Are there any other good cards? Nope. This card is great. I really, 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 really like this card. Consecration is 4 mana, deal damage to everyone, and is often used. This, I think, will also be often used as a defensive early game tool. I really, really, really like this card a lot. One of the reasons why I like the Volcanic Potion a lot is because Echo Control, do you remember? The very first deck that Day9 made that got him the Dayjoy face. Oh, I hear you calling to me. Thank you, Goose Island. I love that. And that was 4 mana and felt good. So I think Volcanic Potion might not be a 2 of in a lot of circumstances, but I definitely think that this is going to have super solid, critical use. In certain control decks. Like, I mean, Reno decks. Oh, shit. Reno decks will absolutely want one of these. This is going to be so great. Okay. Cabal Crystal Runner, because I don't necessarily think that the Secret Mage is going to be intimidating. Who cares? I don't care. Do you care? I don't. Do you? I don't. I don't give a fuck. So I think that this is, a lot of people will go, oh no, it's a Thing from Below. No, it's not. Thing from Below gets activated by use of not cards. You Hero Power, which preserves all the cards in your hand, so that way when you pull out that Thing from Below, it plops down while you still have all the cards in the hand. Cabal Crystal Runner comes down only if you have emptied your hand successfully of secrets. So that's why I think it's very weak. Manic Soulcaster. Oh, this card I think is tight. The most interesting rule breaking that exists in Hearthstone, I claim, has historically been when you can get a few too many copies of a specific card. N'Zoth. Wow, getting 2 Sylvanuses. Oh! Gang Up. You can get multiple Cold Lights. Maybe we should use Gang Up on control cards. It turns out it hasn't really worked very well. Ivory Knight, being able to get another Anything Can Happen. Duplicate and Echo of Medivh. I don't even need to bring up the other examples. I can say Duplicate and Echo of Medivh, and everyone goes, yeah, totally tight. A 3/4 for 3, already the stat line is good, but this, choose a friendly minion, shuffle a copy into your deck. Oh. There's obvious things like Fatigue Mage that I think will be relatively significant. I'm trying to think if there is any crazy combo that can come out of this. Outside of Fatigue, because we can do things like Bran, Cold Light, Manic Soulcaster, or Cold Light. I do though think that this is going to be an interesting card. I would put it in the vein of something like Sinister Strike or Frost Nova. I think that a Manic Soulcaster is an interesting duplicate creator. There's, I think, perhaps the only 3 things that I can think of right now is 1, putting another high value 6 or 7 cost card, getting another Sylvanus, because that's just good, right? That's just good. The second thing I can think of is something mill-related, like, I'm going to put more Renos in my deck and run you out. I'm going to put more Cold Lights in my deck. And I had a third. If you Thorison a Manic Soulcaster and a Doom guy, so you can... a Doom Caller, so you can use Cthulhu, play the Doom Caller to put Cthulhu back in your deck, play the Manic Soulcaster to get another Doom Caller in your deck, like that. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think the most reasonable one is that first one. Like, put a Sylvanas or put an Antonidas back in your deck, and I think it's probably going to be the Sylvanas one. Is more stable. So I think this is a neat ass card. It makes me think a lot, but I think it's probably going to be in the Frost Nova type category where it really needs to be in a really specific kind of archetype. Greater Magic Missiles. Shoot 3 missiles at random enemies that deal 3 damage each. So this is Tempo Flame Strike. Tempo Flame Strike? Flame Strike is a 7 mana, deal 4 damage to all the minions. But if we are in a tempo-y situation, we might not really be worried about there being lots of minions. Like if I'm in a control situation, you'll have 5 minions on the board, Flame Strike. And Greater Arcane Missiles will more often hit the 1 or 2 minions that are on the board and deal some damage to the face. Weirdly, I think this card's actually quite good. I think this is quite a good card. Just because Tempo Mage is already a very strong archetype. I think there's derpy things like, oh, well, you can get 4 damage each, and that's an additional 3 damage. Regardless, I think that the fact that it also deals damage to face. Right now, turn 7, what do? You play a portal, a Fireland portal. It deals 5 damage, it summons a nerd. And what are the situations in which I'd rather run this card out than play a Fireland portal? Well, if you're against a control deck, it's possible to not have anything on the board, and it's just 9 damage. Holy shit. I think that Greater Arcane Missiles will find itself as a one-of in a lot of tempo decks. I truthfully think so. Even ignoring the spell damage, I think that'll happen, but I think it's very possible to also have a Drake or Cult Sorcerer. I've encountered lots of that. So Greater Arcane Missiles will struggle. Okay, when would Flame Strike be better than Arcane Missiles? If you had like 5 dudes on the board, which you would already not want if you were a Tempo Mage. So yeah, I think this is going to be very solid in Tempo Mage. I think it's a very, very solid card. Ink Master Solia. I saw this card. I think this card sucks ass. This is a terrible card. I think this card is full. This card sucks, I think. And let me go through my reasoning. And as always, I will go through my reasoning and maybe reevaluate. Maybe I'm wrong, because I'm reciting what I used to think of. But this card, I think, sucks. Okay. If your deck has no duplicates, the next spell you cast this turn costs 0. I think this is the worst card that we've looked at thus far after the 0 mana freeze. Okay. The next spell you cast this turn costs 0. Let's break this in half, right? What are reasons that you would want a spell to cast a 0? First, I am looking for a tempo gain. I'm looking for a tempo gain. Imagine if this was a 4 mana 3/3 that said the next spell you cast 0. Imagine if it was a 4 mana 3/3. You play that 3/3, and then you Fireland Portal to get a 5/5. You play a dude, you kill the thing, and now it's there. Whoa! You've created a gain in tempo. There's really 2 things you're ever trying to do in a game of Hearthstone, right? The first is you're trying to get so much gain in tempo that you have a spike in value that's too much, and they lose. That's a Secret Hunter. I've played a Secret Keeper. I coined out a Cloaked Huntress, and then Secret. They all pump up, and then bam! Even though you have all your control cards, I have too much value in one spike. I have too much tempo, right? The other one is you have more value in the long term. More value in the long term, okay? So when I look at Ink Master Solia, I ask, oh yeah, and there's a third thing. There's a crazy fucking combo you want, right? What's a combo I'm trying to pull off? Whoa. So when I look at this, I say, okay, so first of all, let me ignore this if your deck has no duplicates. If this said Battle Cry, the next spell you cast this turn costs 0, I think this is a terrible card. I think it's an unbelievably terrible card. Without the if your deck has no duplicates. Because when do I want a 5/5 for 7? Well, if I'm a tempo deck, gee, I guess if I'm a tempo deck, I want to be getting things on the board. I guess I want things on the board. So I guess I would want a 5/5 for 7. That's a terrible, terrible, terrible stat line. So I guess maybe I'd want a Firelands Portal to, like, also kill and summon a thing. Tell me, what's the tempo play for this? Okay, no, let me do the other one. What if it was a 7/5/5 with Flame Strike? Well, you don't want to put this card in here if it's only good with Flame Strike, because if you're a tempo deck, the probability of you having this in Flame Strike is relatively low, and oftentimes in tempo decks you run 0 or 1 Flame Strike. So tempo-wise, is it really that amazing for me to spend 2 cards to summon a 5/5 and to clear a board of small things? I don't think it's good with Flame Strike. I don't think it's good with almost any of the things that would be good in tempo. I would not include this in a tempo deck. Second thing is, again, ignoring if your deck has no duplicates. Is there an interesting combo I can do? No, I don't see one. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so. I can't see a single combo that this enables that I couldn't do just at 10 mana anyways. And the third question is, does this work in some sort of value-based deck that's super control and goes on for a really, really, really long time? Maybe. I don't know. I cannot at all imagine a single situation where this card is good. See, Idiodabble says Pyroblast plus Ice Bolt plus Ice Lance for 17 damage. So that's 4 cards to deal 17 damage. When you could go Evolved Kobold for 4. You could go Fireball to deal 8 damage. Or Frostbolt to get to 13, and then Ice Lance to get to 19, and all you need is one of those to be Thorasand. So we can deal a shitload more damage with our free. I think this card is awful. A lot of people are talking about Kazakus, which I think is I don't know what to think about. I really don't know what to think about, but we'll come back. I think Ink Master Solia with Kazakus is whatever. And we'll come back to that when we hit Kazakus. I think this card sucks. I think this is one of the worst cards that we've seen thus far. Okay, we're on to Paladin. Woo, baby! We are 1 hour in and things are getting a little toasty. Okay, before we go on, what are the cards that you've heard me give the most surprising analysis on? I think this is what I would expect to be the most surprising analysis based upon what I've seen in chat. I think this is truly a horrifically bad card. I think it will be run in no decks successfully. This is probably this is the most firm opinion I have of anything that we've seen, except maybe that the 3 mana gain a mana crystal Solia, Rat Pack and Solia. Yeah, Rat Pack, it doesn't feel good. Anyways, okay. We're going to go to the Paladin cards. We're going to go to the Paladin cards. Rat Pack. Yeah, Rat Pack again. I'm real unsure. Solia, I feel super confident. Anyways, I think that there will be a low drop Paladin deck that will just slaughter shit. And the reason why is, let's find it here. Draw 3 1-cost minions from your deck. Selfless Hero, a 2/1 that when it dies provides a divine shield. We also have Mean Street Mogul, Death Rattle. If this minion has 2 or more attack, draw a card. Damn. Where are you? Argent Squire is also a sick 1-drop, and probably do another one, right? I think that there will be a Flood Paladin that will be sick, because this one, this card, Small Time Recruits, draw 3 1-cost minions from your deck, is like another Divine Shield. I really think that there will be double Divine Shields, double Small Time Recruits deck that will be huge. I think that these will be big, scary, terrifying, so good. Amazing. Did I say Mogul? Whatever, he's a Mogul. Did I see Mogul somewhere else? No, I don't know why I said Mogul. Whatever. Okay, so let's go through it. Grimscale Chum. Battlecry, give a random relic in your hand, +1/+1. I don't think so. I don't think so. Gosh, I am misspeaking all the time. I think there will be a draw 3 cards thing and a divine favor thing. Grimscale Chum, I think it seems okay. It seems okay. It seems okay. It seems okay. Smuggler's Run, give all minions in your hand +1/+1. I think that this will be a 1-of in some decks. How much does Sean had to drink? Not terribly much. I just suck at talking. Grimes Street Outfitter, give all minions in your hand +1/+1. I think this is a very good card. I think this is a super duper ultra sick kind of card. And there's a very specific reason I think that this is good. I want you to close your eyes. I want you to stop looking at me. I'm going to close my eyes. Oh, thank God I'm not looking at me. Oh, God, I need a drink. Think about the Beast Hunter decks that have a lot of Death Rattle cards. Fiery Bat, the Huge Toad, the Infested Wolf, the I let the dogs out. What's its name? The Houndmaster. They even sometimes run a Stealth Tiger. A Savannah Hymen. These are decks they're playing a dude, 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 and they're trying to build up momentum, trying to build tempo to spike, crush you hard enough, and win. With Paladin, I imagine spikes of floods. Right? If anyone has ever played Divine Shield, you know what I'm talking about. Where you just run out everything and you're like, kill it, I don't give a fuck. You're not trying to get a 3/2 for 2 out. You're trying to just empty your hand so you can Divine Favor and play out another hand. Small Time Recruits. It's kind of like Divine Favor again. I imagine that instead of it being a try to spike up and win, it'll be like a spike round 1, spike round 2, spike round 3. And I think that therefore the Grime Street Outfitter will be a very good thing to initiate the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th spikes with. So this is why I think this is a good card. I do not think that it is the most amazing turn 2 play for a traditional mid-range or aggro deck that's trying to build momentum and just kill you off like Zoo, something like this. But this one I think will actually be quite exceptional. This is why I think that Smuggler's Run might also be an exceptional card in these. I will probably try a 1-of in here. Getaway Kodo, when a friendly minion dies, return it to your hand. I also think that this has potential. I would put it again in that Sinister Strike. Frost Nova needs a lot of other circumstances to support it. The Getaway Kodo is really good with basically N'Zoth, Sylvanas, Tyrion Ford Ring, Cairn. I mean, to be able to play Tyrion, to have it die and then to play Tyrion, that would be sick. Outside of that, I do not think it has value. Yeah, I do not think it has value outside of that. Return it to your hand means we're slowing down. You played Tyrion and it died. Okay, it's back in your hand, but you haven't gained anything. You need to spend mana again to play it, which is another way of saying you did not gain tempo, but you did gain value. You get 2 Tyrions. You did gain value. But even then, it makes me go, actually, wait a fucking minute. Redemption would be better than this anyways, because that would actually give you a little tempo as well. This card sucks. The specific circumstance in which I found it valuable, which was a heavy control card that you would want a death rattle effect from multiple times, I think is served better by redemption, I think. Nope, I take it back. Take it back. I'm going to put it in the 2. I'm going to put it in the just above I think it's bad category, because you get the stats, and the stats will be very significant if you are doing one of those traditional control style decks, and there's probably some battle cry things that would be good too. For instance, Ragnaros the Light Lord, which is neither a death rattle nor a battle cry, I think would be better with a Getaway Coda. Okay, no. I think it's I'll still put it as like one step above. I'll put it back where it was before, so that's fine. Grime Street Enforcer. At the end of your turn, give all minions in your hand +1/+1. I don't think this will be very good. Because I'm envisioning that Paladin decks that will... Okay, so Paladin decks that are aggro are trying to empty the hands. So that way you can get Divine Favors, that I have been humbly calling Divine Shields, and then get the small-time recruits out again and again and again, and this seems to go against that grain. I just don't see the value in this that is better than one of the cheapo guys. Grime Street Protector. Are you ready? I have no clue. I have 0 sense of how the Grime Street Protector will function. A 6/6 with taunt for 7. Bog Creeper is a 6/8 for 7 with taunt. Battlecry, give adjacent minions Divine Shield. I don't know. I'm looking at it. This might be cool. I actually think that this is okay. I think this is okay. It's all right. I think it's above all right. I think it's Here's my hesitation. There's an analysis that I would do, which is like, this is a win more card. When are you going to have 2 dudes with Divine Shield on turn 7 to be able to run this out for value? And I think it's actually more often than I would give it credit for. So that's why I go, My real question is, would this work in a super control deck, like a N'Zoth deck? No. I do not think so. Almost always when I play N'Zoth decks or when I watch Show play N'Zoth decks, and he's very good at control decks, there's like a dude on the board. You know what I mean? There's one nerd on the board. There's the nerd on the board. Done. There's a nerd on the board. This would not really function with that because often that nerd gets killed really quickly and only circumstantially rarely is that thing alive. So I don't really feel like I would take up a whole slot in a control deck. I'd rather run another scary legendary. If this was somehow working great in my N'Zoth Paladin, I would chuck it out for Ysera. Would this work in an aggro deck? No, dude, we have Divine Favor and small-time recruits. Are we insane? No. What about if it gets buffed up? I need to look at the other buff minions, but the buff minions seem good for building tempo kind of quickly and setting up some combos. I don't see as many as, we need this one card to get huge, and then it's tight. I don't see that a lot. So, only in like mid-range sticky decks does this seem good, because if you have some sticky minions, I'll just use Haunted Creeper even though it's only in wild. The 1/2 that with Death Rattle summons some 1/1s, if you have some sticky minions, you can bang out a Grime Street Protector for quite a swing turn. If you have a 2/1 from a Harvest Golem, or some other Death Rattle guy that's staying alive, you can play it and do kind of a nice tempo swinging kill that's really valuable. But I am absolutely horrific at constructing mid-range decks. I cannot construct them, so I don't know. Mean Street Marshal, Death Rattle. If this minion has 2 or more attack draw card, I think it will be very good in a Flood archetype. Probably only this. That's why this doesn't really exist anywhere. I think we know, huh? Yeah. Wicker Flame Burn Bristle. Divine Shield Taunt. Damage dealt by this minion also heals your hero. I think it's okay. I think this is an okay. This is so-so card. If we're aggro, we don't care about our health. We don't care about our health. Hit him in the face. Done. If we're mid-range, Divine Shield Taunt. Doesn't get me out of bed in the morning. This seems like it is a control/anti-aggro card. And if it's a control anti-aggro card, will I ever be able to buff this to a 3/3/4/4/5/5 to make its damage significant? I'd rather just run another healing card. You know what I mean? I probably wouldn't. I don't like it. Meh. Screaming outside. Potion of Madness. Gain control of an any minion with 2 or less attack until the end of turn. This is a good card. This is a good card. This card is fucking good. Hello, aggro. I would like a 1-mana 2-for-1. No foot. Here's one of the reasons why I think this is so good. This is very difficult to talk about without talking about the pint-sized potion. Give all enemy minions -3 attack this turn only. I have 1 card to mention to you. 2 cards. 2 cards? Do I have any more than that? 2's enough to mention. Sylvanas, Cairn. Make Sylvanas a 2/5. Snatcher with a Potion of Madness. Ooh! Trade and snatch nerd. What about if I'm not against a control deck that's running Sylvanas, that could have something that I could trade Sylvanas against? Potion of Madness is good against aggro, guys. Yeah, I think this is an amazing card. This is a sensational card. I will run... I mean, it's sensational. I might not run 2 of them. I think I'll almost always run a card, but I think this is a very good card. Cabal Talon Priest Battlecry, give a friendly minion +3 health. Now, in Dragon Priest very often runs a Twilight Whelp and the 2/4 with Taunt, whose name I can't remember. The 2/4 with Taunt if you're holding a dragon. And Cabal Talon Priest works amazingly well. I think this is a pretty solid card. I don't think that Cabal Talon Priest is like amazing, because the only really aggressive variant of Priest that I'm familiar with is the Dragon Priest. Wormrest Agent, thank you, Doriato. The Dragon Priest is really the only build a board, kill the nerd sort of thing. Most of the archetypes are people playing Control Priest properly, or me playing Shadow Priest like a pile of shit. And I think that Cabal Talon Priest doesn't fit into those. It only fits into the more summon a board type priests. We saw Mech Priest, we've seen Dragon Priest. So I think that Cabal Talon Priest will find itself in a good spot in that Dragon Priest. Cabal Songstealer, Battlecry, silence a minion. Look at the expression on my face. It's the best silence in the game, I guess. A 5/5 for 5's fine. It's okay. I mean, it's a 5/5 for 5. This card is only as good as silence is. Right? Maybe it... Are there any good defensive silences? We'll probably see when we review the rest of it. The Eerie Statue, the 4-mana 7/7, could use a Cabal Songstealer. This is going to be a hilarious card sometimes, but I don't necessarily think that this is like a sensational constructed card. Okay, I'm shit at Arena. I'm going to make something up. I've played like 11 arenas in my life. This could be good in Arena. It's a 5/5 for 5 and you can silence a guy. As Priest already, I can deal with the silenceable threats with Entomb and Shadow Word Death. Fine. Yeah, I don't give a shit. Pint-sized Potion. Best card in Priest. Oh, baby, it's the best card in Priest. Hold on, I have a burp incoming. Pint-sized Potion. Okay. Here's the thing about Control Priest that has happened in the last 6 months, okay? Are you ready? Are you ready? Okay. Oh! Oh! He's gonna die now. This, I think, is the best card that has been printed for Priest because it is the ultimate enabler. It is the ultimate enabler. There's been a trend in the last few months with Priest where Priest used to be about drawing a lot of cards, use a Northshire Cleric to just like heal and expand all that out. Drawing has not become as huge and commonplace in Priest. It's a lot been value that's sort of taken priority, just trying to have a good solid spread of cards using Resurrect smartly and all this jazz. Pint-sized Potion is the sort of card that makes me want to suddenly have more draw. Get a Northshire Cleric back in there. Get the Pint-sized Potion plus... Oh, yes. Oh, yes. The Cabal. Oh, Cabal Shadow Priest. Snatch a card. Sylvanas, you're a 2/5. Snatch you onto my side. Sick. This Potion of Madness up here. Oh, that's amazing. Let's not forget Shadow Word Horror. What? Pint-sized Potion plus Shadow Word Pain. It makes me want to run 2 Shadow Word Pains because I can use the deaths on huge targets anyways, and if I'm against a Ramp Druid or a Control Warrior that has a lot of big targets, I can Pint-sized Potion and Shadow Word Pain the Sylvanas. This card is the sickest card, and it's also give all enemy minions -3 attack this turn only. which means that if you have a nerd and he has more nerds, you can pint-sized potion Shadow Word Horror and kill it all. I think this card is amazing. This card is insane. Like, holy fuckamole. Are we serious right now? Is this really happening? Like, I'm not sure this is real life right now. Did we go down the rabbit hole where there's a shitty game designer who's like, you know what? I think Priest needs to win all their games, and they made this? Are we serious right now? Whoever made this is not a shitty designer. That was intended to be a joke. It came across harshly. I think this is a good card. Greater Healing Potion. This, I think, is solid. I think this is more solid than expected. I would give this a 2 thumbs up. This is something I would absolutely run in a Shadow Priest or a Control Priest. Just as a one of, this is great. Notice this restore 12 health to a friendly character. So that way you don't we're going to play an Akanai. We're going to shoot you for 12. You know what? We're going to shoot you for 12. I think this is solid. It'll show up. It'll show up. It reminds me a lot of, what's it called? Healing Wave? The heal for 7 or 14, but most of the time it's 14. This can be done early, which is a really nice benefit. Draconid Operative. Well, I don't know if Brian Kibler's pheromones are in my room or if I just can't stop thinking about him as is. Draconid Operative is a 5-mana 5/6. Already good stats. If you're holding a dragon, discover a card in your opponent's deck. I think that this card is fine. I think it's a fine card. It's a fine card. It's a solid card. I think it's fine. It's pretty good. I think it's fine. Obviously, it's only going to ever exist in Dragon decks. But it's fine. It gives you a little bit of research. It lets you draw a card. It's of the Priest variety where, oh, we want more cards. Yeah. It's cool. It's cool. You will recall that there is the Rogue 5-mana 5/6 that reduces enemy cards by 2. Nah. This is probably, I'm staring right at it. I'm looking into its soul. I think I want to call it good. It's a good card. It's a little more than I initially said it. The reason I say it's good is if you are playing a defensive dragon deck. Well, first of all, generally Priest does not have a lot of good aggressive options. So you are typically playing like Dragon Priest or Super Control Priest or a Shadow Priest. And with that, you are trying to gain value over time. And this is a good value card, a 5-mana 5/6 that gives you a card. And we're assuming that you're going to be able to hold a dragon at this point. I think it's good. I don't think it's like amazing. I'm not going insane about it, but I think it's good. I think it's good. If Dragon Priest is good, I don't think it's because of this card. I think it's because of the combination of several cards. And I think that this is one of the good cards. I think it's great. Mana Geode. I think this is not a great card. I think it's not a great card. When would you want to run a Mana Geode? I'm an aggro deck. So I'm going to run this out and a bunch of other creatures on turns 3 and 4, preventing me from healing. It doesn't seem like it's good in aggro. I'm a control deck, and I'm going to get value by receiving exactly 2 damage at a time calmly. No. I don't think that's going to work. Mana Geode. I'm a mid-range deck, which means I'm playing on curve. Get fucked. I think it's really bad. I think it's truly a terrible card. Cool. Dragonfire Potion, deal 5 damage to all minion sick dragon. Oh. Guys, I think this is 10 out of 6.5. Great card. Great card. Deal 5 damage to all minions except dragons. Unless dragons are arriving in lots of different decks. 6 mana. Shittier Light Bomb. Light Bomb's tight. Can we think about this? Can we think about this for a moment? Wiz ZZZ says 2 mana, 2/3 with a little upside is a terrible card. Yeah, I think this is a unbelievably terrible card. I think this is a awful card. I think it exists properly in no decks. If I want to be running a card that is anti-aggro, I don't see how this is it. If I'm anti-aggro, I need exactly two cards out for this to be good. Anyways, back to better Flame Strike. Oh! Look at this. Card. Ikajrael says, what other 2-drop does Priest have, though? Heal? I truly think that Heal Self is better than having a Mana Geode. This card is excellent. This will bring back strong control decks as Priest. Assuming that dragons don't run rampant. Because otherwise this is bad. This card, I'd like to reemphasize, I think is terrible. It's not as bad as Solus, whatever her name is. Solia. Wow. Worst card. It's terrible. Raza the Chained. Oh, this card. Oh, gosh. I don't know. I don't think this is great. I really don't think this is great. I don't think this is great. I don't think this is a great card. I don't think this is great. I don't think this is great. Let me run through the logic. Okay? You know what the first thing I thought of? Reno Shadow Priest. So how does that work? 2 shadow forms, whole bunch of nerds. When is Raza going to be good? Well, if we run Raza out on turn 5, we get a 5/5, and now we're throwing out a whole bunch. We're throwing out 1 shadow form a turn. Now here is the most important thing to note of someone whose almost all of their 500 ranked games with Priest are with Shadow Form. Shadow Form gives you the 2 damage for 2 hero power. For any of you who somehow are watching me right now and don't know that, you pretty much get to cast it every turn. Pretty much get to cast it every single turn anyways. There are lots of 6 mana and lower cards. And if you are turn 10 or later, you're going to be casting Shadow Form almost every single card. And almost every single turn. Anyways. Almost every single turn anyways. You're just going to be banging about. So then we would say, well, what about Raza the Chained up to turn 8, let's say? Well, if we also have a Shadow Form in hand and we run this out on turn 5, I do concede that it will give you value on turns 5, 6, 7, and 8. There's little combos you can do with this. Like if you've played this early with a Shadow Form in your hand, you can go heal, Shadow Form, shoot, and that's only 3. Shadow, like, okay, so when things cost 0 all of a sudden, this gives you tempo. Okay, imagine if I walked up to you and said, what do you want to do on your turn of Hearthstone? Next game of Hearthstone, I want you to play this. Next game of Hearthstone where you have a hard turn, I want you to do this. Next turn in Hearthstone, you have a hard turn. I want you to do this. Next turn in Hearthstone, you have a hard turn, said Sean, repeating himself too much. I want you to think this. There's a hard turn, and I say to you, one of your cards costs 0. What are you going to do? Almost all of the time, you're going to try to do a swing. Almost all the time, you're going to go, oh, well, if it's 0, I'm going to play my Flame Waker for 0 and shoot this spell for 2 and that spell for 4. Woo! You're going to do that sort of thing. When things cost 0, they allow for good tempo plays. They allow for good combo plays. Shadow Priest is all value. It's value. It's over time doing the most amount of pain and damage. So the only way that this hero power costing 0 will give you the most value is if you couldn't have cast Mind Spike every turn, but now you can. And I cannot see how that would work. Can't see how that would work. Right? Like, most of the plays when you're playing and you get 0 mana are about tempo. And then you can do a long-term value. Right? And someone says you literally just justified Solia. No, I didn't, because Solia costs 7 mana, not 0 mana like I did in the example. Fuck! Solia costs 7 mana! Solia sucks. Anyways, let's go to Rogue. Jesus, we are slow. We are slow. Whatever. We're going to have like a 3-hour video. I don't give a shit. Jade Shuriken. Deal 2 damage. Combo. Summon a Jade Golem. Yeah, 7 mana and 0 mana are oftentimes dramatically different. Here's the thing. Part of me feels that this card might be okay. It's a 5/5 for 5 that does a smidge of a benefit that might be okay. Okay, let me scroll through Rogue because it says deal 2 damage, combo, summon a Jade Golem. So already this card is bad outside of Jade Golem, so we have to have Jade Golem working. Jade Swarmer, stealth, death rattle, summon a Jade Golem. I'm so glad I avoided the spoilers. Fuck, man. Oh my god. Oh, shit. Oh, fucking, oh my god. Oh, god. Hey. Hey, are you a designer on Hearthstone? Yes, I've been a designer for years. I have a thought for Rogue. What is it? Do you know the Magma Rager? Oh my god, please continue, but I think I know what you're going to say. Yes, a Shadow Rager. It's a 5/1 for 3. What else is there? Oh, he has stealth. Yes, I found it funny as well. Oh my god. Oh shit, that is funny. Jesus, a Shadow Rager. For any of you who don't know why this is funny, the Magma Rager is a 5/1 for 3 that became an Ice Rager, which is a 5/2 for 3, which then became an Am-Gam Rager, which is a 1/5 for 3. Whatever, let me keep scrolling through these things. I want to see how many Jade Golem-y things there are. That's right, I know what this is. Okay, now we're a shaman. My reaction to the Jade Shuriken is... Shit, that's funny. It depends on how many Jade Golem activators there are. Jade Swarmer depends on how many Jade Golem activators there are. Now, so let's just think for a moment. Just screw these cards for a moment. Think from the perspective of a designer who has not yet made cards. We're going to create a mechanic called Jade Golem, where the first Jade Golem summoned is a 1/1, and then a 2/2, and then a 3/3, and then a 4/4, and then a 5/5. Okay, well, hold on. We already know a 3/3 for 3 is a little under. A 4/4 for 4 is a little under. A 5/5 for 5 is a little under. And so on. Okay, well then what would make Jade Golem summoning cards good? That they do something a little better to make up for the fact that they're summoning one of these small dudes. Well, hold on. We don't know when they'll be summoned. So we normally have 3 2s for 2 that have Death Rattle deal 1 damage. We need to understat a 2 mana card to make sure that these Jade Golems aren't too powerful. Right? We need to do that. So, what is the general theme that we should see in Jade Golem cards to ensure that things aren't out of control? Jade Golem cards suck on curve early and are good on curve late, right? They suck on curve early and are good on curve late. If you top deck a Jade Swarmer after you've cast 5 Jade Golem cards, you go, oh my god, fucking sick. Right? That's really good. Same thing with Jade Shuriken. 2 mana deal 2 damage? No, fuck no. No! I'm gonna play Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I love errata. Unless you're at turn like 11, and then you can actually do some juice with it. So that's why I'm trying to evaluate. Shadow Rager is like... This is not bad. I think that this is... Apparently the current top 11 posts on our Hearthstone are your Shadow Rager reaction. You won the internet. Thanks, Speed Racer 4321. I don't think this card will be played, and I also don't think it's good. The reason I don't think it's good is because it would have one of 2 purposes. It's a 5 mana removal card, right? You can't mess with me because I have stealth. If I'm ever around at all without stealth, virtually everything kills me. So I'm kind of like a 1 turn later Shadow Strike. What would be better about a 1 turn later Shadow Strike? Well, I have Cold Blood. Or I am an aggro deck looking to deal 5 damage to face, and that's hard to do. And I probably would not run a Shadow... Probably the most reasonable place for it to live is a Shadow Rager. What the fuck did I just say? Probably the most reasonable place for this to live is a aggro deck. Probably. I don't think it would be good with Cold Blood, because if you're going to be comboing it with something, you want the rest of your deck to have synergy around that kind of combo. So you might do something a little more acceptable, like a South Sea Deckhand, the 2/1 Pirate with Charge if you're holding a weapon. That seems better. Or anything around a Gadgetzan. So I think that this could have a place in aggro, but I estimate it won't be used. Counterfeit Coin. Gain 1 mana crystal this turn only. No, I don't think this is, I don't like this. My mouse is in my forehead. Great, Sean. Great, Sean. Oh, pat. No. No, I think this is a weak card. I think it's a very weak card. Coins are nice. Here is one circumstance in which I think this could be funny. There are the hard mulligan miracle rogues that run 2 Gadgetzans and then basically conceals and cold bloods out the ass, and they're just trying to draw to the OTK on turn 7, 8. Counterfeit coins would be extremely helpful in this. Counterfeit coins, what mid-range deck? Or again, why would we run any 0 mana spell? Because we want to gain tempo, right? We said that earlier. That's why we run 0 mana things, because we can sacrifice having a card in our hand in order to do something amazing. I think this is a weak card. I think it's a strictly weak card. Gadgetzan Ferryman. Combo, return a friendly minion to your hand. No. No, I think this is a weak card. I think this is very weak. This is an incredibly weak card. And my reasoning is very simple. Young Brewmaster is a 3 mana 3/2 that has Battle Cry, return a friendly minion to your hand. This is a 2 mana 2/3 that says combo, return a friendly minion to your hand. Shadow Sensei, Battle Cry, give a stealth minion +2/+2. Turn 3. Turn 3, Shadow Rager. Turn 4, Shadow Sensei. This card is terrible. I think so. I think this card is terrible. When would we ever have a stealth minion on the board when we would be able to play Shadow Sensei? Well, okay, so if something is 8 mana and it requires a conditional on the board, that implies that the conditional needs to survive on its own. At 3 and 4 mana, it is possible for us to run a Shadow Sensei plus a 6 mana thing. Battlecry, give a stealthed Battlecry, give a highly conditional rare mechanic on something that is still alive +2/+2. Houndmaster is give a beast +2/+2. Shadow Sensei, I will say, I would estimate that it's weak, but this might be excellent. It might be Houndmaster quality, depending on what the neutrals are, because right now I'm thinking Shadow Rager is the 3 mana, Shade of Noxramas is already rotated out. Worgen Infiltrator? That doesn't make sense. It would need to be a 2 or 3 mana card that is stealthed. Plus, when beasts attack, they don't lose the beast tag. I think this sucks. I'm gonna investigate. Lotus Assassin, stealth. Whenever this attacks and kills a minion, gains stealth. I actually like this card quite a bit, because a 5 mana 5/5 is already fine stats. It's stealth. Okay, we already have a Stranglethorn Tiger that's a 5/5. This is kind of like a kill 2 thick things. Lucky Do Buccaneer Battlecry, if your weapon has at least 3 attack and +4/+4. I actually like. I think this is a solid card. I can imagine it living in a few control rogues. It's a nice card. It's not an insane card. It's not a Dr. Boom card, but this is a nice card. I think this is a really, really, really nice card. If you're, especially against decks that are a little more aggressive, where I could say hit a Voidwalker, a 1/3, and then I have a 5/4 against a zoo, and it's a little more tricky for him to kill. This is certainly better than a Tiger, but we have to say, is it better than a Tiger in Rogue? And there's no Rogues that run a Stealth Tiger. So, whatever. Lucky Do Buccaneer. If your weapon has at least 3 attack, gain +4/+4. So it's a 6 mana 5/5, which is not good. But a 6 mana 9/9, we have seen that be good in the form of the Draconid Crusher. When do we have 3 attack? I'm going to say never under any circumstance ever. So I think this is very weak. I think this is a very weak card. I mean, what is the most common circumstance in which we have 3 attack? It's with Deadly Poison. Deadly Poison is quite rare across the board with rogues. And Deadly Poison is typically in the most aggressive variants, which is antithetical to running a Lucky Do Buccaneer. Maybe there's some sort of weird mid-range deck that's kind of like a Dragon Rogue, but even then, Deadly Poison is not frequently run. What are the other weapons? None of them have 3 attack except the Assassin's Blade, which is, again, also very rarely run because there's not a lot of healing. For control-y decks. For aggro, okay, I can see that. Shaku the Collector. Reminds me of the longtime day-night unemployed Shaku. Cheers to you. Whenever this attacks, add a random card to your hand from your opponent's class. Certainly not an excellent card because we have the Undercity Huckster, which is a 2/2 that gives us a random card. This is a 2/3 that when it's stealthed, why would I want to leave it stealthed? Maybe because I have my buff man up here. What's this thing called? A Shadow Sensei? It's called an Insect Sword Guy with a hat. So Insect Sword Guy with a hat could make Shaku the Collector bigger, make it a 4/5 for 3. Stealth could be used to plan turns around. Most of the time it will gain a card, and sometimes it will gain more cards, but not often it will be able to gain more cards. So pretty much this is a Undercity Huckster that costs 1 more mana and gives 1 more health most of the time. And Undercity Huckster is a solid card. Lots of people run that. I think this is going to be an above average card. I don't think it, like... and the reason is purely that Undercity Huckster is a 2/2 for 2 that's in like a shitload of rogue decks. It's in a shitload of rogue decks. It's in like N'Zoth decks. It's in Burgle decks. It's in just regular old tempo decks that are looking for a 2/2. And this is a little bit more that has the same effect. And potentially has upside. No, I think it'll be very mediocre. I think it's very mediocre. It's hard for me to be like, whoa, Shaku, because, I mean, the Undercity Huckster works well because it's Death Rattle. It's gonna die. This will almost always give you a card anyways, but I don't think... Whatever. Call in the finishers. Summon 4 1/1 Murlocs. Okay. Is this just 4 vanilla 1/1 Murlocs? Because if so... I have to think about Murlocs. Well, this is a good way to shit on anything can happen decks, but you would only ever run this if you were some sort of Murloc-focused shaman, and those are trying to kill you as fast as possible anyways. There is the... every Fin is awesome thing that has synergy with, so I think there's that, but it's okay. I think it has a place in Murloc Shamans. Jade Lightning. Deal 4 damage, summon a Jade Golem. This falls in the same category as the other Jade Golem things. I really need to see what the neutral Jade Golem cards are. Jade Chief and Battlecry. Summon a Jade Golem, give it Taunt. I think this is one of the better Jade Golem cards. Because we have a 5/5 for 7, which is great, and we're almost certainly... We have a 5/5 for 7, which is bad, but it's not super off being bad. And if we have another Jade Golem that's like a 5/5 with Taunt, that's tight. Jade Chieftain, I think, will only be really good in control-y decks. Which is why I wonder about this. Devolve. Transform all enemy minions into random ones that cost 1 less. That's super fucking annoying. I think this card's bad. Everyone's bringing up Salia. Let me just state why I think Jade Chieftain is dramatically better than Salia. It all depends on the side of the Jade Golem. Like if you have 7 mana for a 5/5 and then a 5/5 with Taunt as well, seems nice. It sticks because it's one card doing a lot of things, which is very different from Salia. A 7 mana 5/5 that also demands that you have another card. Jade Chieftain doesn't. I think Jade Chieftain is strictly better than Salia. I think Salia, again, is the worst card that I've seen thus far. Devolve seems super annoying and hilarious. Why would I want to devolve? Let's walk through the possibilities. I already have a board, and you already have a board, and I want to devolve you so I can trade. That seems backwards. Why not put cards in that prevent you from having a board or that clear your board? Would I rather have a devolve or a sweeper? Well, what about if I want to get value out of my sweepers? That's the second thing I can think of. Value out of sweepers with devolve. Devolve and then Lightning Storm. Doesn't Spell Power with Lightning Storm seem better? I think... Yeah, I think this is bad. There's some extreme cases that I can see, which is like you're in a Zoth deck and you have just summoned a Zoth, and I'm like, everything's a little smaller now. Yeah, I guess. I'd rather just sweep you and deal with the death rattles. It seems weak. It seems very weak. Having a whole slot devoted to that. Ugh. Countering an anything can happen paladin. That'd be pretty funny. Just devolve the board. Jade Claws. Battlecry. Summon a Jade Golem. Overload 1. 2/2 for 2. Totally depends on Jade Golem. I'm going to come back. Genie Water Speaker. Battlecry. Restore 6 health. Overload 1. I have positive feelings about this card. I have very positive feelings about this card. I don't think this is going to be a wildly common card. I don't think this is going to be one of these, like, the meta is defined by restoring 6 health. But I think that as someone who weirdly has tried a shitload of control shaman, this is a good anti-aggro card that has really been missing a lot from the control shaman builds. I would absolutely put this in and my win rate would go up. It's fantastic for that. I mean, control shaman builds used to be like, please God, let my healing wave heal for 14. And then, please God, let Halaziel the Ascended heal for 26, please. And it's really scary when you have just 2 healing waves in Halaziel to swing you, and that's it! Jinyu Water Speaker feels like a very nice card for those control things. So I think that this absolutely opens up for some control things. Finders Keeper, discover a card with overload 1. Literally have no clue. Have 0 sense. I do not know what my analysis of Finders Keepers is. What are the overload cards? I mean, Lightning Storm, Elemental Destruction, Lightning Bolt, not Crackle. Storm Crack, Finders Keepers again, that healer that we just saw, the Fireguard Destroyer, the Jade Golem 2/2 guy. I would say that Finders Keepers, the probability of this is proportional to, Totem Golem, Doomhammer, Feral Spirits, Forked Lightning, the 7/7 Man, Flame Wreathed Faceless. I think this is a weak card because with Discover cards, you need something outside of the Discover, I claim. I am a rogue who has Journey from Below to discover a Death Rattle card, which is great for N'Zoth decks. Bam. I have a Malagos Druid, so I am doing Raven's Idol to discover a spell because it gives me synergy with Arcane Giants, and it lets me draw more. I don't think this is good because it seems difficult to control the outcome of the Discover effect, and the only synergy with Discover that I know of is the Tunnel Trog and the Unbound Elemental. So when I look at this, I say, I want to have any control over my outcome, and it seems like it would be hard to do because sweepers versus units, there's a big disparity there. That's what I think about that. Lotus Illusionist. After this minion attacks a hero, transform it into a random 6-cost minion. Rat? I don't know what to think about this card. What? I don't like this card because if I'm a control deck, do I want to keep a Lotus Illusionist alive for more value? No. I'm a control deck. I want to have good... I don't intentionally use this word repeatedly. I want to have good control. I want to have good control over the board. And if I'm an aggro deck... maybe this is okay. I don't know. I think a big struggle with random mechanics that aren't guaranteed is that unless the stats are sort of guaranteed to be super solid, it's extremely difficult to get the predictability you need to have a consistent deck. So when I look at Lotus Illusionist, I think, what are the really aggro Shaman decks? Yeah, I mean, maybe mid-range Shaman will run Lotus Illusionist and it'll be terrible. Ooh, shit, that seems really threatening. What would you cut? Evolve Synergy? Well, here's the thing. I'm not questioning that a 4 mana suddenly transforming into a 7 mana is nice. I'm asking if, one, what is the percentage of the time that this actually transforms into a 6-cost minion? And two, I don't really give a shit what else happens, because if that happens, it's really good. You know, I actually think this might be a fucking ridiculous card. I actually think this card's going to be ridiculous. Let me think for a moment. What would you cut to put this into a mid-range Shaman? Because mid-range Shaman plus this. Okay, I feel like one of two things are happening. This is either going to be an insane card in mid-range. Why? Well, I summon a Tunnel Trog. I summon a Totem Golem. Oh my god, you're threatened. You know what? I'm going to summon my Spirit Claws, and I'm going to, or maybe a Hero Power, and then I'm going to run out of Lotus Illusionist. Already you're trying to deal with the Tunnel Trog, you're trying to deal with the Totem Golem. I got a Lotus Illusionist out. You know how hard it is to deal with the surprise? I have a 0 mana 5/5 with Taunt. The Lotus Illusionist suddenly coming out and being huge without Overload. I think this is a good card. I think this is a card I've done the most talking about, so I'm just going to skip past it, but I think this is tight. Wide Eyes, Taunt, Death Rattle, Shaman, the Storm Guardian into your deck. I think it's just a good card. It's really, really good. Good in Control Shaman. Wide Eyes is really good in Control Shaman. Really, really, really good. Because the Storm Guardian that I have seen is a 5 mana 10/10 with Taunt. This is really good for Control Shaman. Really, really good. Hilariously, a real problem in Control Shaman is fatigue. Storm Guardian's nice. Alright, cool. So we've done that. Nice. It looks like there are some possibilities for Control Shaman and some mid-range things. Yeah, this card is just great. Blast, Crystal Potion. Destroy minion and one of your mana crystals. I can't see a situation in which this is used. Can't. It's tough for me. I feel like there's two situations, right? Here's the two situations that I can envision. We are early game. Oh my god, emergency, gotta kill a guy. Blast Crystal Potion, destroy me and one of your mana crystals. Well, if we're already struggling early game, so much so that we're willing to sack a mana crystal, we really kind of need the mana crystal. Well, what if we're at turn 9? Why is it good to have a Blast Crystal Potion? Because I want to kill something and then play a guy. Nah. So, in the later turns, it feels okay. It might be okay. Might be okay. Might be fine. It's kind of like a better polymorph. This is okay. This is okay. I don't think it's terrible. I think I can envision it being run like in a Reno deck. Crystal Weaver, Battlecry. Give your demons +1/+1. It's a 4-mana 5/4. I don't think this card is that bad. I also don't think it will be run. I don't think it will be run. Is this good on turn 4? Well, Imp, Gang Boss, and some of his little dudes. And a Voidwalker. One of the other times a Crystal Weaver might be run. If you can play 2 cards at once and zoo. Not good in control. Because just giving a Battlecry Demon boost. This is Battlecry, give your demons +1/+1. Is this in the whole deck? Is this in the whole deck, or is this on the board? I think this card is not... I don't actually think it's that bad of a card. I just don't think it'll be run. I just don't think it'll be run. Abyssal Enforcer, Battlecry. Deal 3 damage to all other characters, including yourself. Just board, that was my presumption. This card actually is nice. I think this is a great card. I don't think it'll be ridiculously common, but the reason I think it's nice is that it is another sweeper for Warlock, which was sorely in need of that sort of thing. I think this card is very nice. A 6/6 for 7 that deals 3 damage to all other characters. It needs to be enough heal for sure. I mean, it's Hellfire, which is 4. And then it's a 6/6. So that seems good. That seems good. I like this card. I don't think it'll be super common. I really, really don't think it'll be ridiculously common. It's going to be a Reno guy for sure. Blood Fury Potion, give a minion +3 attack. If it's a demon, also give it +3 health. The first effect, give a minion +3 attack. That's the same as Blessing of Might, which is 1 mana, so I think that's a weak effect. If it's a demon, also give it +3 health. +3/+3, 4/3. Only going to exist in the demon deck? No. No. I just don't think this will ever be run in Constructed. Do I think that? Yeah. Yeah, I think that. Sea Devil Stinger. Battlecry. The next Murloc you play this turn costs health instead of mana. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know, man. I think it could be a thing. If Murloc Warlock becomes a thing. Yeah, and it's been a thing in the past. Again, I don't think this card is like the holy shit, but I think it might be a piece to the puzzle of Murloc Warlocks coming back. Because here's the thing. Murloc Warlocks have historically had some serious threat. They've historically had some serious threat, and they've been a real pain to deal with. Which means that their health has never really been the biggest concern. 4 mana, I think there's some real potential with the Sea Devil Stinger. I don't think it's a necessarily great card, but I really feel like there's some potential. Hellfire Potion, deal 5 damage to all characters. This is a solid card. I think it will show up in Control and Reno decks in a reasonable amount. 5 damage to all characters is nice. It's really nice. Unlicensed Apothecary. Whenever you summon a minion, deal 5 damage to your hero. So this is a 5/5 for 3. I think this will be used in some control decks. I like this in control decks. You play a 5/5 for 3, you clear some stuff, and once it's dead, it comes back in. Will it be used in aggro? Here's how I'm thinking of this. The unlicensed apothecary. In aggro, I would expect to deal 10 to 15 damage. I expect the unlicensed apothecary to deal 10 to 15 damage to myself in an aggro deck, because on turn 3 I'm playing this. How many 4-drops are common in aggro warlocks? Not a lot. I would expect it to be 2 2-drops. So you play those 2, and you do this, or you play this on turn 3, and this will help you get board control, but then you have to be really careful on your turn 4 after you've summoned some dudes. You've lost 10 health, so now you're at, we'll call it 18. And it's your next turn. You have 5 mana, gotta be a little bit careful, right? Gotta be a little bit careful. If we've traded away on the previous turn, we can trade away again. I think it'll take some fiddling in Zoolock to get it to work. I think it will be reasonable in... I think it'll be reasonable in control locks. Cabal Trafficker. At the end of your turn, add a random demon to your hand. No, I don't care about this card. There's a lot of bad random demons, so don't want those. There's a lot of good random demons. Could be cool. So I might run in a control deck. What if I got like a Void Terror? What if I got like a... Yeah, I don't... Maybe an Areno deck? Maybe. It's kind of fun, though. You can get a Jiraxis. It's pretty tight. 9 mana, Krull the Unshackled Battlecry. If your deck has no duplicates, summon all demons from your hand. I think this is bad. I think this is incredibly weak. There was a 10 mana 12/12 bring all the dragons on. And this is a 9 mana 7/9 that brings all the demons on. Yeah, it seems bad. Seems very weak. Especially because there's so many demons that have battle cry effects. Yeah. Okay, I know a guy. Discover a taunt minion. I don't know. Could be good. Does it have any synergy outside of the providing of the taunt minion? I don't know. I don't think there's any like miracle warrior. Discover a taunt minion. Public Defender 0/7 for 2 with taunt. This is slow. It depends on how sick taunt synergies are, but I don't see this being like super sick unless there's an amazing taunt deck. Unless there's an amazing taunt deck. Unless there's an amazing taunt deck or Arcane Giants or Pyromancer or whatever. Public Defender, a 0/7 for 2 with taunt. I see some value in this. Not as a frequently chosen card, but I see some value in this. Grimy Gadgeteer. At the end of your turn, give a random minion in your hand +2/+2. I do not understand these +2/+2 in hand things. I have no feel for them whatsoever. I have no idea what's going to happen here. Could be nice. Stolen Goods. Give a random taunt minion in your hand +3/+3. 2 mana for +3/+3 seems... Bad? Seems very bad. I think it seems incredibly bad. I think it seems fantastically bad. Wow, I really think that's bad. Like, okay, so first of all, would I ever want to use this as a tempo card, like on turn 2 or 3? So that way I could run Stolen Goods out, and on turn 3 play a 6/7 monkey. 2 cards to get a 6/7? Ugh. Oh, gosh. Stolen Goods is fundamentally slower on tempo because it doesn't add anything. It makes the next tempo play bigger. Does that help? Nah. No. What about me wanting a very particular taunt card to be big? Can't think of anyone. All right, moving on. Grimes Street Pawnbroker. Give a random weapon in your hand +1/+1. Not sensational. Will want... I mean, do I ever want to hold back on a Fiery War Axe? A lot of the times I want to run them out. Maybe I'll run this out. What about if we're late game and am I ever going to be not running out weapons? It's hard for me to imagine that. It's hard for me to imagine this being good. Very hard for me to imagine Grime Street Pawnbroker. Ally Armorsmith, taunt whenever this minion deals damage, you gain that much armor. It's when it deals damage. This card I actually think could be okay. This card I actually think could be okay. This could be okay. A 2/7 with taunt for 5. The other stat lines we've seen are like a 3/6. Are there any 4/6s? Not really. This could be okay. I don't really... It's whenever it deals damage. If it's like when it took damage, maybe... or whenever anything takes damage, that would be nice. Sleep with the Fishes, deal 3 damage to all damaged minions. This could be like Flame Strike-oo level, where you like Whirlwind and you sleep with the fishes, and it's 3 mana and it deals 4 damage to everything. Oh, with Stolen Goods, it's now a 5/10. Wait, is it... Whenever this minion deals damage, gain... Oh, gain that much armor. I thought it was gain N armor. Oh. It's like a better Bloodhoof Brave. Seems good. Whoops. I truly don't know. I truly have zero idea. My feelings on the card are the exact expression of that Murloc. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe like something techy. You maybe tech this guy in. You tech him in. Brass Knuckles. After hero techs, you random in your hand +1/+1. Bad. I can't imagine. I can't imagine this being good. Because, like, bigness is not traditional with any Control Warrior. All the cards in Control Warrior are cleverly utilized, like a Shield Bearer. The 6/6 that gives you 1 billion armor. Sylvanas. You can use later with N'Zoth or something. Or Grommash. Get it in there. Like putting in a whole weak weapon to get your Grommash increased a little bit. Eh? This card is sensational. This card is... This is probably the best card we've seen. It's probably the best card we've seen. I think so. I think it's the best card we've seen. I mean, wow. This card is insane. A 2-mana 2/2. That's fine. Give all weapons in your hand and deck +1 attack. Get the fuck out of Texas. Are you kidding me? A 3/2 for 2? A Fiery War Axe? Talk about 4/2 for 2? Gorehowl, I'm going to hit you in your face once before I kill 7 of your minions. Later on, you can brand this out. I mean, this is good in Pirate. This is good in Control. This is the best card we've seen. This is amazing. We're at neutrals! It's 8:38. We started a while ago. We have encoded 600,000 frames and dropped 3,000 of them. Grimes Street Smuggler. Give a random minion in your hand, +1/+1. What are the classes? Paladin. Huh. Paladin, Warrior, and Hunter. I don't see this used in Warrior. You know, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go past all of these tri-combo cards. And I'm going to go to the neutrals. Because I think a lot of these tri-combo cards will be really, really, really important for the rest of these combos. Now, some of you are looking for a break. We're not going to do a break. We've been going for 2.5 hours. We're just going to keep going. Mistress of Mixtures for 4 health both players. 10 out of 10. Amazing card. Best card. Jesus, this is amazing. Home. Oh my goodness. This is a sick 1-drop. 6/6/6/6 sick 1-drop. Blowgill Sniper. Deal 1 damage. You know what? We're going to take a 1-minute break. Guys, use the restroom. I'm going to use the restroom. Stay tuned. My name is Day9. We are done with the first half of this card review. I'm going to use the restroom. Oh!